Hi friends, welcome to our channel. Today we continue our series on how to influence men. We've discussed a lot of strategies. We'll look at other techniques that will help you better understand and manage male behavior. These methods, based on psychology and real-life examples, are easy to apply. Ready to go deeper? Let's get started. What makes a woman feminine? Femininity is a state of mind and social activity. Rule #29. How to persuade a man to pay more attention to you. Do you feel that your beloved does not pay enough attention to you? He has too much to do at work. So he always comes back late, or too often meets with his friends, or maybe when he comes home, just lies on the sofa and watches TV, not even wanting to talk to you. If you want to change the situation, then you need to do some serious work on your relationship. There may be various reasons for this behavior. He may be thinking about your future and trying to earn as much money as possible. Or he just really cares about his friends, so he's always happy to meet them. Another option. He is so tired at work that he does not have time to talk at all. But in any case, if the man does not pay enough attention to you, you are also the culprit of this inattention. Perhaps the man has lost interest in you. He has become bored in your company. So he is looking for a way to reduce your leisure time together. You can change the situation if you want to. Try to turn your man's return home from work into a small holiday. The main thing is to return to him the desire to go home. There is confidence that there he is waiting for a beautiful wife and a delicious dinner is ready. Analyze the topics of your conversations. Think about whether you are an interesting interlocutor for your man. Very often, women simply do not know how to interest a man. They talk non-stop about cosmetics, fashionable outfits, and women's trinkets. You must realize that men are a different world. They are interested in completely different topics. Of course, you don't have to talk to them about cars and football, but you can try to get into his inner world. Try to show interest in the things he lives by. His work, his friends, his hobbies. Being an interesting interlocutor for your chosen one is half of success. The other depends on your ability to use small female tricks. To get more attention, you have to know how to attract it. How? Very simple. Darling, how do I look today? And you should always look your best, and you can ask this question as often as you like. It will be good if your beauty and charm can be appreciated by other men. Your relationship will benefit from a little jealousy on the part of your chosen one. Your man could lose interest in you, as he was sure that you are in his power and will not go anywhere. Try to shake his confidence, threaten his inner peace, make him worry. As soon as there is a danger of losing you, the man will pay attention to you much more often than before. The desire of a man to be near his beloved woman largely depends on her talent to organize joint leisure time. Remember how long ago you were in the cinema together, sat in the last row and kissed. When was the last time you went to a restaurant or cafe together? Or maybe you just need to go to the skating rink because you used to really like to do it. In general, think about how you can diversify your life, make it colorful, fill it with new experiences, be proactive. And then your man will pay more attention to you. Rule #30. How to persuade a man to make repairs to your taste. You really want to update your dilapidated home, to make a redesign, revitalize the interior. But you cannot come to a compromise, constantly quarrel because of trifles. The renovation has been delayed because you can't agree on which wallpaper to choose. The problem of renovation became fatal for many couples. Lovers parted without reaching a compromise. If in your life appeared such a dangerous issue as the renovation of housing, you should be very careful about it and act not by persuasion and requests, but with the help of manipulation. Men are convinced that they are much better than women at everything related to renovation. To make your opinion on wallpaper and new furniture authoritative for your man, you need to do a good job. Firstly, you need to decide what you want. It is important that you clearly formulate the idea of your new interior. It is not necessary to prove to your beloved only out of a sense of contradiction and self-importance that the bedroom must have yellow wallpaper and not brown, as he wants. You need to turn your idea into your man's idea. Convince him that it originated in his head. Make him believe that he wants yellow wallpaper and not brown wallpaper. How do you do that? Rule #31. How to persuade a man to stop smoking. Your man smokes too much. You have tried everything, and persuasion and requests and threats, but nothing works on him. He still smokes like a locomotive, despite your dislike of this bad habit. Well, it is time for you to use manipulation and help your man to stop smoking. This is a very difficult question, whether it is necessary to try to wean a man off smoking. The fact is that for a smoker with a long history, opponents of his bad habit are his enemies. In most cases, a smoker depends on cigarettes both physiologically and psychologically. And if physiological dependence can be overcome with the help of various medical preparations, it is not possible to get rid of psychological dependence. In this case, you can help your loved one. Do not use blackmail techniques in this case. If you do not stop smoking, I will leave you. The man will most likely not stop smoking, but will secretly continue to poison his body. It is possible that your words may be the beginning of a serious confrontation or even conflict between you. You have to use the covert control method. Your task is to convince him that smoking is an addiction and it limits his existence very much. For example, invite him to a new restaurant, book a table in advance. When you get there, you accidentally find out that it is a non-smoking restaurant. On the one hand, you deliberately create discomfort for your man, and on the other hand, you prove to him that his bad habit limits him. Arrange more frequent trips to the cinema, theater, where you need to limit yourself for a long time in satisfying the need to smoke. When you meet your mom, you can ask him not to tell her that he smokes, as she hates cigarette smoke and always swears. Your man is unlikely to refuse, and during the whole visit, he will have to hide his addiction to nicotine. Try to let him know that he can cope with nicotine addiction. Always celebrate his successes. Honey, you haven't smoked for 3 hours. Be on his side, be his friend, not his enemy. Help, not blame. In order to quit smoking, your man must have an incentive, a super objective, so to speak. He needs to answer the question, what does he want to get rid of cigarettes for? For women, pregnancy can be an incentive. Many women quit smoking when they find out they are going to become mothers. Your pregnancy can also be an incentive for your partner. The baby needs fresh air, so you should stop smoking in the flat, or better yet, stop smoking altogether, so as not to make your firstborn a passive smoker. Or, for example, you can look for your man a vacant position in a prestigious firm. When he wants the job, you can tell him that the company favors people without bad habits. Then he may be motivated to get rid of his addiction. It is quite possible that you will not be able to completely wean your beloved from the addiction, but even if you reduce the number of cigarettes smoked per day, it will be a great achievement. Rule #32. How to convince a man to marry you. Do you feel like your relationship with the man you love is stuck in one place? You are still just his girlfriend, and he is just your boyfriend. You have long been convinced of the strength of your feelings, but for some reason, he is in no hurry to propose to you. You think it's time to take the bull by the horns. The fear of men before the wedding is quite understandable. Almost every man is afraid of losing his own independence, to part with the so-called male freedom. Just as any woman is afraid to remain unmarried or simply an old maid. How do you convince your man to get married? Yes, very simple. You need to convince him that marriage is not as scary as it seems. You need to rid your lover of the common male prejudice that the end of bachelorhood is the beginning of a new, boring, and hopeless life of a married man. Almost every man is frightened by a woman's insistent desire to become his wife. Therefore, try to hide from your chosen one your irresistible desire to get a stamp in the passport. There are many women's tricks that are resorted to in order to force a man to marry. Someone gives birth to children in the expectation of the nobility of their father. He will not abandon his offspring. Some try to lure a man with their culinary talents. I am such a good hostess, you just can't find a better one. This is also a kind of manipulation, but each of these methods has its own errors. They may or may not work. We're offering you a win-win. You must fully support the man in his conviction that a good thing is not called marriage. Stand on the side of inveterate bachelors who do not want to hear anything about wedding ceremonies, outfits, festivities with a lot of distant relatives. Be persistent in your denial of the institution of marriage as such. Try to convince your man that you want to be always free as the wind. At first, such a policy cannot help but please your man. He will admire you, so different from other women, and rejoice in his own happiness. But after a while, he will definitely come into his head treacherous thought. If you are so dear to your freedom, are you ready to part with it for him? Are you able to prove your love? Your man may not jokingly afraid that you, so bright and extraordinary, at one point just leave him. Be sure that sooner or later the marriage proposal from his side will come first timidly, then more and more insistent. Your task is to play the play to the end, not to agree to the first marriage proposal. He should seek your consent as long and painfully as he sought from you reciprocity. Men always cherish what they had to gain with blood and sweat. If your hand and heart did not come easy to him, you can be sure that he will cherish them for the rest of his life. Rule #33. How to persuade a man to have a child. You can't wait to have a child, but for some reason your chosen one is against it. He is sure that the child, it is too responsible step, which can change your whole life, and he is not ready for it yet. How can you convince him that a child is not only a burden of responsibility, but also a wonderful gift of fate? Among manipulative techniques, the positive example method works best here. See young parents with a child walking in the park. Be sure to note how cute they look. If you have acquaintances with a child, be sure to organize a trip to them together with your chosen one. See how they live, how they cope. Ask if they have free time, if they manage to rest. It is best if the baby is over a year old and the parents have already had time to acclimatize after the arrival of the baby. Your man may change his mind about fatherhood if you arrange for him to talk to his new dad. It would be great if Daddy shared his impressions of the new member of the family. He will tell you how much he has changed his life. It will be great if the impressions of the father of the child will be so vivid and infectious that your beloved will want to have a child of his own. If this does not work, then try the immersion method. Arrange a meeting with a friend who has a child. Ask your man to babysit her child for a short time while you chat about your own affairs. Very often, men do not want to have children because they are afraid of them. Many simply do not know what to do with them. For such insecure men, this method is suitable. After sitting with the child for an hour and a half, the man will begin to form an image of fatherhood. He may wonder, can I be a good father? If he fails to establish contact with the child after the first meeting, then it should be repeated several more times until he develops an interest in the child and a desire to experience fatherhood. Rule #34. How to persuade a man to leave his mistress. You accidentally found out about your lover's infidelity. How to act in this situation. Leave him, throw a scandal, or demand that he immediately break up with his mistress. If you have decided to save your union, we can help you. Cheating on an empty place does not happen. So if you are sure that your beloved has an affair on the side, you should analyze your relationship and understand where you made a mistake, in what you are imperfect, and what he lacks. If you do decide to keep your relationship, you care about your man, then scandals, persuasion, and pleading will hardly help you. Use the technique of hidden control in order for your man to voluntarily leave his mistress. Few women manage to win back their man, getting away with it, that is, to preserve their union and at the same time do not drop their own dignity. How to do it? Here are just a few useful tips and effective techniques. 1. If the man has not yet revealed his secret to you, and you found out about it by accident, meeting him with his mistress, then know that he values your relationship. He does not want to lose you, and the connection on the side for him is not so serious. In this case, take advantage of your own importance. Provoke a situation in which the man will realize that he can lose you. To do this, you just need to expose your beloved. Bring him out into the open. Make it clear that you know about everything. Disclosure should not be accompanied by scandal or threats. Try to be balanced and as calm as possible. -2. Make a man jealous. Create intrigue in your relationship. Hint that you also have an affair on the side. This can be done very simply. Ask a friend to call you late at night, and when the man asks who it was, be embarrassed and come up with some ridiculous excuse that it was a work colleague. To a man, your cheating is usually a fantasy. They allow their own cheating, but they do not imagine that their woman could cheat on them. If he has a suspicion that you are cheating on him, he will throw all his energies into finding out the truth. You can maintain the intrigue, making new hints without presenting direct evidence. Your man will pay more attention to you, and he simply will not have time for a mistress, but will awaken interest in you if he realizes that again he has to pursue you. Moreover, beat you off from your imaginary lover. 3. Well, and finally, an integral part of female manipulation: seductive appearance. You will have to make more than one trip to the beauty salon. Awaken in yourself the desire to spend all your salary on yourself. Compliments of the surrounding men in your address, their passionate glances should make your man look at you with such eyes as he looked at you once long ago, when he courted you. Try to reanimate his feelings, and he himself will forget the one he wanted to trade you for. Thank you, friends, for being with us to learn more helpful strategies on this topic. Subscribe, like, comment, click the bell, and watch our next video.